everybody. Okay, we all know that looking for a job can be really, really stressful and frustrating. But once you find that perfect position, you don't want to blow the whole thing during the interview by making some pretty preventable mistakes.
And you won't, because here with advice on how to nail any interview is CTV's financial correspondent and star of Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary.
First up, let's talk about interview fashion. We know the importance of making a first impression, but we also want to show our personality, but at the flip side, we also want to be professional. So how do you merge those two, personality and being professional, especially if you're interviewing at a creative type industry?
You know, the thing is about, and I own 27 companies now, and I've seen it all. I've seen every tragedy occur in the interview process and great successes. You don't want to be too provocative. I mean, you want to bring a fashion statement forward that no matter who's there, they're going to accept it. You have to have a very broad appeal. So if you do something like too much cleavage, big mistake.
Okay.
That's likely to actually offend a woman more than a man. Because very often interviews today are done with two people, so that if there is a controversial occurrence, you've got someone to actually attest that it happened or it didn't, particularly exit interviews. So you want to be very careful about what you're saying about yourself. The other issue that's becoming a big one is tattoos. Better not to expose them, so wear long sleeves. They're accepted within the workplace, but sometimes old school interviewers don't like it.
Okay.
I'm just telling you the facts. I'm not against it. We have lots of ink in my companies because they're young and creative, but in the first interview, that's an issue. You want to be middle of the road.
Okay, so staying with first impressions, there was a recent article on Business Insider, and they recommended that before going into the interview, you go to the washroom and you run your hands underneath the dryer and get your hands warm and dry, because that inspires confidence as opposed to cold, clammy hands, which means that, you know, you're a write-off. Do you judge people on how their hands feel?
I actually do.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did my hand feel?
It was a strong handshake. That's what matters. There's two things. First of all, you should always extend your hand. You should always offer a handshake when you're meeting somebody new in the interview process. The key is to look them in the eye when you're doing it. Have eye contact. Don't break away.
Okay.
Look at them and have a firm handshake. Cold and clammy hands are often a sign of just being nervous, and people understand that because they're shaking a lot of hands. But it's the eye contact. Connecting visually with the eyes is everything. And believe me, I've done this 1,000 times. If someone looks down when I'm shaking their hand, they won't look me in the eye, big negative.
Oh, okay.
Big negative.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Mr. O'Leary, I'm right here. You with me? Okay. Now, in the acting world, when you're auditioning, if you seem, I think, too hungry in a way, you never get the part. Kind of weird. Now, when you're interviewing for another kind of job, is it good to show that you're eager, or do you want them to think that you have other prospects? What do you do?
No, the key to a successful interview out of the gate is listen when you're being spoken to. Don't ever cut off the interviewer, who often and always will start the conversation by saying, "Good morning, good afternoon, I'm glad you came in, I've got your resume in front of me." Don't cut them off. Listen to the question. When they're finished, then answer. Never look overly anxious, because you should be confident about your prospects. You should make the assumption when you're going to the interview, you're going to get the job. That's what I tell everybody, including my kids. When you get the opportunity to get an interview, assume you're good enough, and the only reason they've asked you to come in is they're assuming they want to hire you. Go in with that impression of yourself, not overly confident, but look, I know you want me and I want to work for you. Let's talk about that. That's the best way to do it. If you seem nervous or weak, and again, I stress this, I can't stress it enough, look at them in the eyes. Never, ever look away when being asked a question or being asked anything. You've got to make that connection. People remember that more than anything else.
So there's the inevitable question when you get interviewed. What are your weaknesses? Now, for us at this panel and this couch, a lot of us would say, well, I'm a perfectionist. It's a weakness. I mean, I say that facetiously, but what really is the right way to answer that question in an interview?
The best answer is this, because I've had it given to me and I thought, this is just brilliant. I remember interviewing somebody for one of my companies who was going to take over social media. And I said, like everybody does, what are your weaknesses? You save that question for later in the interview because it's a great one. And she looked at me and she said, I've never worked for you before. I don't know what you want of me. I won't know the day I show up. You've got to give me time to figure it out. I went, wow. That is an honest...
Wow. That's good. That's a
honest
good answer.
It's an honest answer, and of course she got the job. I thought, my goodness, that was brilliant. And it was true, you know, people don't know what's expected of them. You should say, my greatest weakness is I don't know yet what you need from me. I'm going to learn that on the job, but I can't wait for the opportunity, and I'm willing to work hard to figure it out.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. Amazing.
Kevin, interviewers almost always ask if you have any questions for them. So what are some good questions to ask a potential employer? And what are some questions we should absolutely stay away from?
Here's the ones you want to stay away from that are a huge red signal. Never ask about sexual orientation. Ever. You don't know if that person's gay or straight. It's none of your business.
But we're coming from the employee side.
I know, but employees have actually asked that. They've
Of
actually,
an employer?
Absolutely. They ask questions about sexual
Who's
orientation.
asking that in an interview?
It happens. I'm telling you, you asked me what not to ask.
Okay, yeah.
You stay away from that.
Right.
Stay away from marriage. Whether are you married or not. You don't know if the person that is interviewing you is in the middle of a divorce, has issues about their relationship. Stay away from anything to do with expectations of money. In other words, how much do you make? Can I make as much as you one day? Anything to do with that is a huge mistake. The only questions you should be asking are about the job, about how you can do it better. Is there something you should go take as a course? Is there background material you could read? Is there anything about the job that you could do more homework on so you'd be a better employee? Stay away from anything that is away from the job because it's a huge red signal. And these are issues in society today that people don't want to deal with in a job interview process. You know, don't be greedy. Don't immediately ask, what do I have to do to get my first bonus? I don't like that one.
Thank you very much. I'm making eye contact with you.
You bet.
We appreciate you being here today. And those are great tips. Don't forget to tune into Shark Tank Friday.